Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today we will journey through The Red Pony by John Steinbeck. The Red Pony, authored by John Steinbeck and first published in 1933, is a poignant collection of 4 interconnected stories that chronicle the life of Jody Tiflin, a young boy growing up on a ranch in California. Through vivid storytelling, Steinbeck explores themes of maturity, mortality, and the interplay between humans and nature, providing a deeply emotional yet unsentimental glimpse into a boy's coming of age. Plot summary. At dawn, the ranch stirred to life, the air crisp with morning chill. Jody Tiflin, a boy of 10, rose from his bed, the harsh clang of the iron triangle summoning him to the day's chores. Life on the ranch was orderly, disciplined by his father, Carl, whose stern demeanor left little room for indulgence. This was the rhythm of Jody's life, a series of responsibilities and quiet obediences. Yet, beneath the routine, there was a yearning, a boy's restless hunger for adventure and understanding. One morning, Carl and Billy Buck, the ranch hand, led Jody to the barn. There, in the dim light, stood a pony, a red colt with a rough coat and wild eyes. It was Jody's, his father said, but with conditions. The pony would demand care and discipline, qualities Carl hoped to instill. Jody, awestruck, reached out tentatively, and in that moment he felt a spark of pride and responsibility. He named the pony Gavilan, after the mountain range that loomed in the distance, its peaks sharp against the horizon. Jody devoted himself to the colt, brushing its coat until it gleamed, coaxing trust with soft words and careful hands. Billy, whose expertise with horses was legend in the valley, guided him, teaching the boy how to handle the animal with skill and respect. Jody's bond with Gavilan deepened, the pony embodying his dreams of independence and mastery over a world that often felt beyond his control. But the winter winds brought a cruel test. Gavilan fell ill, his vibrant spirit dampened by the relentless rain. Billy Buck promised the boy that the pony would recover, a reassurance Jody clung to even as doubt crept in. The colt's condition worsened, and despite Billy's efforts, nature proved unyielding. Gavilan succumbed to pneumonia, leaving Jody shattered, his grief compounded by the betrayal he felt toward Billy's unfulfilled promise. The sight of vultures circling above the fallen pony seared into his mind, marking his first encounter with the irrevocable finality of death. The passage of time brought another figure to the ranch, a man from the past, as weathered and quiet as the land itself. Gaetano, an elderly wanderer, arrived seeking a place to end his days. Carl, ever pragmatic, dismissed the old man's request, seeing no value in offering charity to someone who could no longer work. Jody, intrigued by Gaetano's air of mystery, watched him closely, sensing in the man a connection to something ancient and unspoken. Gaetano lingered briefly, sharing cryptic stories of his youth and the far-off places he had traveled. One evening, he vanished, taking with him an old, decrepit horse. Jody imagined Gaetano riding into the distant mountains, where the twilight deepened into shadow. It was a departure heavy with symbolism, a quiet statement of dignity in the face of life's inevitable decline. Though Gaetano's stay was brief, his presence lingered in Jody's mind, a reminder of life's transient and solitary nature. Seasons turned, and Carl struck a bargain with Jody. If the boy cared for the mare Nellie, he would receive her colt as a replacement for Gavilan. Hope rekindled in Jody's heart as he tended to Nellie with unwavering diligence. When the time came for the colt's birth, Billy Buck took charge. But complications arose, and the mare's agony stretched into a brutal reality. Faced with no other choice, Billy sacrificed Nellie to save the colt, delivering it in a scene of blood and desperation. Jody, clutching the trembling newborn, felt the weight of life's duality. Creation born from destruction, joy tempered by sacrifice. In the wake of the colt's arrival, the ranch settled into its routines. Then, one afternoon, grandfather arrived for a visit. Once a leader of pioneers who had journeyed westward, he now lived in the shadow of those glory days, his tales worn thin from repetition. Carl, impatient with the old man's nostalgia, dismissed his stories as irrelevant, sparking tension around the dinner table. Jody, however, was captivated. He listened intently, drawn to grandfather's memories of vast, untamed lands and the sense of purpose they had once carried. But grandfather himself seemed weary of the past, acknowledging the emptiness that came after the journey's end. His tales no longer inspired the vigor they once held, and he lamented that his role had faded into obscurity. In a rare moment of empathy, Jody fetched his grandfather a glass of lemonade, a gesture that spoke of unspoken understanding. It was an act of quiet defiance against his father's harsh dismissal, but more importantly, it marked a fleeting connection between the boy and the old man, both navigating their own forms of isolation. As the days passed, Jody returned to his routines, his world shaped by the lessons etched into his heart. The land remained vast and indifferent, its rhythms dictated by nature's unyielding hand. Yet within its boundaries, Jody began to find a measure of understanding. Loss, responsibility, and fleeting glimpses of connection, these were the elements that formed his initiation into the complexities of life. The shadows of the mountains stretched long across the ranch as the sun dipped toward the horizon. Jody stood quietly, gazing out at the world that had tested him, shaped him, and left its indelible mark. The winds carried with them the faint echoes of past journeys and future promises, a reminder that life's paths are never straight but always profound. Hope you had fun. There's more where that came from. Explore other books by John Steinbeck. Find them below or search Celsius 233. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in John Steinbeck's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.